Okay, so I wanted to do Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, he has been accused of sexual misconduct and I think rape from the 1980s and one other. He had two cases, I think, not three, but he gave two accounts. Now, he of course denied it. Neil deGrasse Tyson, for those who don't know, is an astrophysicist, but he is like a millennial celebrity now. He is a very big deal, especially for the crowd who loves science, like I do. Well, space anyway, but science in particular, because he is very knowledgeable about a whole lot of things. And so he's sort of become that sort of beacon for millennial interest in space and science. And so he's very charismatic, he's very intelligent, so he draws in a crowd, he speaks to you without speaking down and the whole bit. So one woman accused him of groping her, and he did give an account and said that she had a tattoo of the solar system on her sleeve. And so he said he went up her sleeve, I think with his hand or his finger or something like that, because he was saying where the planets land or something like that. And she took it the wrong way or something like that. And for those who don't know him, if you do watch, you'll see he is very awkward. I mean, he just can be, period. He's like 6'6" or 6'4" or something like that. So he's just big and awkward sometimes. And he can be geeky. And he's very touchy. So, he likes to touch and that kind of thing. So I don't necessarily think he was trying to sexually assault her or sexually, whatever. But she didn't like it. That was the point. And that's kind of what he said too in his letter or whatever it is that he wrote. But it gets worse now because Nat Geo, National Geographic, and Fox has a show with him called Star Talk that they have canceled temporarily until the investigation is over. He said, of course, evidence matters, but what happens when there's just one person against another person? He said that's where the investigation will come in. This is what Dr. Tyson is saying. So he said, well, he will cooperate with the investigation because, he believes that there's nothing really there. It was just some incidents that were probably taken the wrong way. Now, as far as public support goes, he still got that. So they're going to do the investigation to be fair, which is good. But as far as everything else goes, I don't think he's lost any support. He just put out another book. He's canceled some talks he was supposed to do here. I live in Florida, so he was supposed to do some talks here. And he's canceled those until the investigation and all that kind of stuff is over. So I want to know, what's around Dr. Tyson? Is there some validity to these allegations? Is there some validity? Let's see. There's separation right now. So he has gone from the public sphere, well, from television. He is still tweeting, and I will say this just for full transparency. I am a huge fan of his as well because I am fascinated with space, and he talks about it in a way that makes it even more interesting. So, just to get that out the way, but he is out of the public sphere right now, and this does affect him emotionally. So, there's that. And he is at odds with some people, so there is that. Deadlock. decision to be made. There's the Queen of Wands, Chariot, moving forward, Seven of Pentacles, Six of Wands. I'm going to lay it out first and then go through. Queen of Swords. Okay, so what we got first? The Three of Swords, that is separation. Like I said, he is counsel some talks and things like that, but this does affect him emotionally as well. There is indecision, there is deadlock, there is inner conflict. This does and it makes perfect sense when it crosses the 3, because this is sort of pain and struggle and things like that, and that's what this is as well. This is a struggle. This is being off balance emotionally and logically. This is blocked emotions. This is struggle. So he is fighting right now because, of course, like Fox and Nat Geo want to investigate, and they're in an awful position too, as one of their spokespeople said, because they just filmed some kind of show called, I think it was Star Talk Possible Worlds is what it's called. And he's not only narrating the show, but he is on camera throughout the show. And so they can't just plug somebody else in there, because it's not like it's a live show. This is something they pre-recorded. And it's sort of documentary style. And so right now, everybody, including him, which is probably where all these threes are coming from. There's him and Nat Geo and Fox are all kind of in a deadlock right now, in a struggle, because, Me Too will take you down very quickly. And so when it hit him, he did, like I said, give his account of everything. But when these kind of allegations come out, it's more along the lines of, especially if you are a public figure like he is, public opinion is what's really going to do you in. Now, you could have a situation where public opinion like R. Kelly, where a lot of people think he did it, but they support him anyway. In this in particular situation, I think people are more on his side, saying that, like I just said, he's more of just a big, giant, awkward man. So I don't think he really meant to harass you. But you don't know that. So let's keep going. There is a woman in the past. I don't know who that is. That's at the base. These could be his allegations. Because this one's in his sphere and this one is his base. And they are right across from each other. And from what I have heard so far, that there is 2. One of them was the lady with the tattoo, and there's another one that he invited to his apartment or something like that for wine and cheese, and she was uncomfortable. And no, it was his assistant. She was his assistant at one point, and so she felt uncomfortable being at his house, but she didn't say anything or leave or something like that. But something like that. I forget, but it's been a while since I read his letter or his account. This is just his account. This is not what she cooperated or anything like that. He said that she later told other people that she was uncomfortable, and she quit there, shortly thereafter. And so he asked her, what's wrong, all this kind of stuff. And then that's when she brought it up to him. And then later it came out that, she not only was uncomfortable, but she felt some sort of way. I guess he made some advance towards her or something like that. So these 2 women have the allegations against him. One saying that he groped her, because I guess her tattoo went under her bra strap or something like that. So he went up the tattoo. because, she had a tattoo of the solar system, and I think she had Pluto on there as well. And I think he was trying to find Pluto or something stupid like that. I don't know. Something he shouldn't have done. That's what I do know. Keep your hands off people, period. But there is the Chariot. This is moving forward, but again, that is in the past. So he did just, because he stopped tweeting for a while. He tweets at least twice a day, 3 times a day, something like that. I don't read the tweets because, I'm not a Twitter person. I'm not a social media person, period. But anyway, this is moving forward. This is also some triumph, but this is moving forward. I think this is why I say this is also some triumph and being driven and overcoming and things like that. Because when you look online and because I just did this just for, gags and giggles. I went and I clicked on his comments, down in his Twitters. And there are a few people who say, well, what about the allegations? What about the allegations? But most people are just engaging with him on what it is he's talking about. So he still has a lot of public support. And the investigation, according to Nat Geo and Fox, shouldn't take any more than a couple weeks. Now, I would think you would want to dig a little deeper when somebody's being accused of sexual misconduct than a couple weeks. But, they have a business interest in this, which is why you need a outside party like CBS did. CBS had an outside firm to come in and investigate Les Moonves. So if you get somebody on the outside, then, and they say a couple weeks, okay, I can accept it a little more than Nat Geo and Fox saying a couple weeks because they don't want to keep pushing their show back that they spent the money on already. But this is what's on his mind, that in which he has invested in. He has moved on. That's what this says. He has moved on. There is still some struggle between him, Nat Geo, and Fox. They haven't separated completely because they haven't fired him. They just canceled his show temporarily. But then there's that. There's the struggle. There's the struggle source. Again, he has moved on. Moving forward, that's his investment. He's thinking about his investment. He's not thinking about the allegations because in his mind they aren't true. There's the Six of Wands, the celebrated person. So apparently, this is public recognition. This is leadership. This is victory being celebrated for you. Apparently, he is found innocent. Well, let's keep going. But again, this is his fear. This is the woman. But right across from his victory is the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords, this is why I say you need a more outside investigation. I don't believe that they're going to fully investigate. Now, he said he's going to cooperate because, like I said, in his mind, he didn't do anything. It was awkward and maybe uncomfortable for the women, and that's enough because, hell, but that's not enough to take a person down, really. But if somebody makes you feel awkward and uncomfortable and you say so and they keep doing it, then yes, that is sexual misconduct, even sexual assault to a point. But what I think he did was just, like I said, if you have never watched him, go watch. You'll see he's big and awkward and touchy and things like that. He grabs everybody that he talks to. He talks with his hands. So, anyway. This is him. But this is what's around him. This is the environment. This is sneaky. This is strategy. So I don't really think they're going to do a full investigation. That does put him in a position where he does seem a bit confused. There is some, what's the word I want? There is a bit of illusion. He's saying to himself, this is over already. Like, they may come ask him 10 questions in a meeting that lasts 30 minutes, and then next thing you know, he's back on TV. Six of Pentacles, this is time of sharing. This is money or time itself. This is generosity. This is charm. He's back where he used to be. Going on everybody's show. He's been on everybody's show. Stephen Colbert is addicted to this man, so he's definitely been there many, many times. So like I said, he's going to be fine. Is there some validity to it? The investigation has absolutely no real ground. So we don't really know. They investigated. They said this is going to be 2 weeks. I mean, I guess it doesn't really take that long for you to ask two people a bunch of questions, but or at least get their account. But there's some sneakiness. There's some strategy to this. They put a lot of money, and I'm pretty sure he's not cheap. He's the director of the Hayden Planetarium in New York. So I am pretty sure they put a lot of money into this man simply because, like I said, he has that cult of personality. He's got such a huge following because he's gotten millennials interested in science again and da-da-da-da-da. So he is a huge, huge figure in just pop culture, period, not just the science world. And so he is the lifted, celebrated person. This is him. There's the confusion even for him. He thought, this would be an investigation. No. There's some strategy here. This is going to be over like that. And then he goes right back to work. Now, I can't necessarily blame him because he's not doing the investigation. But Fox and Nat Geo, there's some anxiety. Moving quickly. There's some moping, disappointment. Four of Pentacles, resistant to change. So what I see here is around the high drama of it all, it goes by very quickly. There is some disappointment in that too. Because I don't think that they're really going to be able to tell their story. Now, again, for complete transparency, I don't really believe that he sexually assaulted them, but I don't know that. Believing that and knowing that is two different things. So, Four of Pentacles, that's resistant to change, stinginess. This means that this in particular investigation from Fox and Nat Geo is not a real investigation, if you ask me. There's the Ten of Swords, that's loss. I feel like that's the ladies on that one. There's Justice, so there is not going to be anything. There's a Star. And then there's Triumph. So they're not going to get him. Whether he did it or not, they're not going to get him. There is the Ten of Swords, that is loss, that is disappointment. There's Justice, that's the investigation. Then there's the Star, there is Neil deGrasse Tyson, and then there is Victory. There is the Emperor. It's the head of something. There is death, there is the major change. There's the Five of Swords, that is betrayal. Then there is the Six of Cups, that is nostalgia or the past. The Emperor, the person running the show, brings about the change, the end to this investigation. For those who are stuck in the past, or not necessarily stuck in the past, but for the women, I would say, who have brought these allegations up from the past, because one of these is from 1980 or something like that. It's over. So What I can do is just honestly pray that this did not happen to you two. And the reason we don't know if there is validity to the allegations is because the strategy, the case is sort of just blown over. He said he didn't, you said he did. So he said evidence matters. So what happens when there's only one person's word against another? He said that's where the investigation comes in. But the investigation is going to be up like that. They're not going to really do a in-depth investigation, if you ask me. But, like I said, if you don't know him, go look him up. You will see that that's just the way he is. You know, he talked to Stephen Colbert, he grabbed Stephen Colbert. He talks to Bill Maher, he grabbed Bill Maher. He wasn't, you know. But like I said, you being uncomfortable doesn't really have anything to do with anybody else's situation. I'm just laying that out there to tell you that that's kind of how he is. So it is easy to misinterpret a person's touching, especially if it's not warrant, you know, and you didn't ask for it. Yeah, moving on. Leaving that behind. There's some disappointment. There's still some uncertainty. But you also need to set boundaries. And I think that's what he's going to do from now on. There's some escape in this. Case over. So hopefully they were not sexually assaulted, because nothing's going to come of it.